Thank you very much, sir. It is after a long time that I have just gone through the budget. I used to do this exercise for the state budget, and for years I did that for Gujarat state. And in between I just stop it, but I again myself try to see to it that budget is read, especially keeping the poor of the people in mind. So figure I am mentioning here is figure mentioned in the budget heads and not the department basis. Say for example the 2049 is a budget head for interest payment. So all the department, the figure mentioned that any department which pay the interest payment has to be accounted in a budget head 2049. So are the other departments, say other budget head like 2202 is a budget head for the general education. So any department which spend money on a general education has to be accounted in a, the budget head of 2202, or for that matter the 2401, which is an account for the crop the product. So all this, the budget, the information or the figure I am mentioning is already accounted in all these budget heads, sir. Sir, I just want to draw your attention, not to just criticize you in this sense. What I found in the annual financial statement and profile, expenditure profile, there is a discrepancy in the figures. Figure mentioned in the interest, say for the interest payment, in the annual financial statement 2049, the budget estimate is 7,28,203.16 crore, while in the interest payment figure mentioned in expenditure profile 2020-2021 is 7,03,203.6. Same is like in a budget head of 2071, which is the pension and retirement benefit. In a disbursement, it mentioned 2,11,681.75 crore, while in expenditure profile, the same budget head, the figure mentioned is 2,10,680. So I am putting for your record, there are nearly 24 or more the budget head, as well as there are other budgets in a capital head, which you can just correct, or you ask your staff to just correct those figures, and this discrepancy has to go, because it doesn't look good if the two, in a budget, the documents, if the figures differs, again after the figure differs, especially in a budget head, it should not differ. I can understand in a department wise, because department wise the figure doesn't mention you the entire amount spent on that particular activity, is only the budget head. So the second point I wanted to make it, while analyzing the budget in Gujarat, I have always found what is the basis for allocation of the money by the government. Because at one point I was puzzled, because the Kerala was spending so much of money on education while other states were not. So is it that whatever is come by way of a tax revenue and non-tax revenue has to go in a consolidated fund of India or consolidated fund of the state? When you withdraw that money, when you withdraw it, what is the basis for it? Because in my analysis I have found, say for example, that in this budget, you have estimated almost 48.1% for a general services. Now general services include interest payment, police, and all the other establishments which are engaged in collection of the taxes and others and so on. And very little, it leaves around 30% you see spent on economic activity, and rest of it goes in social, the social services in the same. What I have found, by and large, that the distribution of money literally create a kind of a society as a whole. The people who are working in a general services or are included in general services, it gives an assured income. to that class of a people, so which then they can, organize, or they can plan their future, putting their children to the school, or at least, having a house and so on and so forth. While there is a mass and mass of the people who are in fact, because their income is not assured and they always go around in a search of employment, is creating a different class again. Same is true with the irrigation. Now wherever the water goes, that class of the farmers that come up, because there is a sure income to them for 3 seasons, while where the irrigation water doesn't reach, they end up working as a land, having a land, but work as a agriculture, the laborer as well. So with the disbursement of the money as a whole, we are creating literally a class of people with the public, the money, because with public finance, with public money we build dam, the water goes in certain areas, wherever the water goes, their income increases, while others' incomes remains the same. So the disbursements of the money by the government sale, which is by way of collection from all people of the society, literally create another kind of the 2-3 level of the society as a whole. And I think the distribution of financial resources as well as the natural resources by way of a policy literally created the class of the people, and budget can certainly, at least minimize the gap. The reason why is because the directive principle of a state policy give a direction, especially to the state, as in which says the Article 30, 38, 39. In fact, if you look at, it says that that the ownership and control of the material resources of the community is so distributed at best to subvert the common goal. Second, that the operation of economic system does not result in the concentration of a wealth and means of production to the common detriment. That there is an equal pay for equal work and both men and women. There are all this help. Now the directive principles should be the basis for distribution and deciding, the way that the money should be spent, Now what has happened? I was just looking at the budget statement here, which I have analyzed, with my staff for years that I have been, doing it. That it results, general services is the 48.31%. Now that includes the interest payment, that is 28.93. One thing I have found always in the deficit, while presenting the budget in a March, it's always a tendency by the department to show the collection of taxes through tax revenue and non-tax revenue on a higher side, and the expenditure on a lower side in the set. That wherever the deficit is there, especially that money is being collected by borrowing. So borrowing always increases. The second trend I have found is the social services allotment always after the revised budget, it decreases in revised budget from the estimate, and actual budget is actual money spent on that services also, the decreases in comparison with the revised budget as a whole in this sense. On the contrary, if you look at the general, services, it increases. Actual estimate, actually spended, increase in comparison with the estimate or in comparison with the revised one. So what happened now? Because Mr. A, please conclude. Sir, one more point, just give me 2 minutes.
आप 1 मिनट जरूर बोल रहे हैं, पर I would like to share
just
1 minute. Mr. जी, please 1 minute. Parties time allocate करके देती है. It's better to coordinate with the party. अदरवाइज फिर बीच में आप मुझे कहते हैं, फिर पार्ट टाइम का सारा प्रॉब्लम होता है. हमारे लोग बोलना अधिक चाहते हैं, चेयर तो बैठने को तैयार हैं, हम देर तक बैठने को तैयार नहीं है. ये हाउ वी कैन रन? जस्ट यू थिंक एंड टेल मी, गाइड प्लीज कंक्लूड.
Sir, I just want to draw your more attention, especially on the agricultural laborer. Agricultural laborers are landless. Those who have a land, they get water, they get seed, subsidized seed, fertilizer, others, and so on and so forth. Those who have factories and others, they also get bank loan and so on. This is a large mass of agricultural labor, daily wage earner, on the roadside workers and others and so on. Agricultural laborers get 120 days of work according to the Rural Labor Commissions. 100 days work we get it from NREG. 145 days we left to the mercy of those people wherever they want, and they go and they try to earn the money. Now that has literally, in fact, put in a poorest condition. So is the daily wage earner. There is no system, and the budget doesn't provide any kind of a solace, to these people. That's one part, sir. And the second thing, last.
Please conclude now. Already we have taken 2 minutes more.
Sir, fine. Thank you very much. I think I would also finish it.
Thank you.